Region is a geographical area. Yeah, just please continue. Those who are saying, I see a couple of people, they said they are new classes for them. You will get the recordings. Please follow those recorded sessions. I think if you go for two days recordings, you will be able to follow. Don't worry. Okay. All right. So region is a place where AWS has its infrastructure. Can we say that? Okay. And also, what is an availability zone? Availability zone is simply a data center. So, and a regions can have multiple availability zones. Yes. And which is the region that we will be using it? Mumbai. And what is the region code of Mumbai? AP minus South minus 1. And how many availability zones are there in Mumbai? 3. What are those? Super. 1A, 1B, and then 1C. These availability zones interconnected with each other. So if I launch one EC2 instance in 1A, can I connect to 1B EC2 instance? Yes, I can connect. And is it recommended to launch all your EC2 instances in one availability zone? No. What is the good thing? It's always recommended to spread across availability zones. Okay, good. And two regions can communicate with each other? No. If required, yes. Excellent. And if you want to secure your whole infrastructure, so where do you say, in which place you will keeping your infrastructure? VPC. What is that? VPC. What is the full form of VPC? Virtual Private Cloud. Super. Two VPCs talk to each other by default? No. If required? Yes. How many VPCs you can create per region? 5. Super. Okay. Which is the service in AWS where you can go and create virtual machines? EC2. What is the full form of EC2? Elastic Compute Cloud. Wow. And can I rephrase that? In EC2 service, we will go and launch EC2 instances. So instead of saying create virtual machines, what do you say? Launch EC2 instances. So this EC2 is regional or global? Regional. Fantastic. Regional. And what is load balancer? Load balancer which distribute the load across the servers. And what is this load balancer called in AWS? ELB, Elastic Load Balancer. This Elastic Load Balancer is a service or a server for us? It's a service. And is it possible to log into the load balancer? No. What do? You can access the load balancer. How do you access the load balancer? Using URL or DNS name. And this load balancer is specific to any availability zone? No, it is specific to regional. You will be creating load balancer regional. Okay. And which is the service in AWS where you can go in easily and quick deployment of applications? Elastic Beanstalk. So in general, in platform as service, do we have access to the servers? No. But in Beanstalk, do we have access to the servers? What is the backbone of Beanstalk? EC2. So do you recommend that you control those EC2 instances? No. Do you all agree that Beanstalk provides platform to you? Based on the application that you have, based on the language, you will be selecting the platform to deploy it, correct? Which one is manual, which one is automated? EC2 or Beanstalk? EC2 is manual, Beanstalk is automated. And which is a service in AWS? Which is a service in AWS where everything is readily available? You just need to go and click light sale. Does it provide all latest applications like Joomla, Drupal, etc., etc.? Yes. And which is the service used for generally for automation purpose in AWS? Lambda. This Lambda is server based or serverless? Serverless. Lambda is regional or global? Regional. So if I want to stop many EC2 instances, will you go and do manually or will you automate it? Automate it using Lambda itself. Using Lambda itself. I don't have any questions, guys. Very good. Excellent. Super. So if I'm always okay, even okay. One more question. Where are the events stored in AWS? Event Bridge, of course. Yes, thank you, Akshay. So guys, as I always say, please be like this only. Please concentrate like this only. If you are able to answer the interviews like this, it will be really superb. Especially, I am there in interview panel since many years. If you're able to respond like this, no, blindly they will take you. Simply, I'm saying it. Mark my words. But you should understand what is the question they're asking, right? So they don't ask directly, what is EC2? They don't ask like this, correct? So based on, they'll put some scenario and they will ask. So you need to identify it. Where we can find previous recordings, you will get it, Ramya, Venkata Ramya. You will get it soon, okay? Admin will provide it at the end of the class. Okay, excellent. So those are the services that we have discussed in our last class. So let's move on. So let me share my screen. Yes, don't worry. We'll do that, Pooja. Okay. Okay, so guys, quickly on the event bridge, Pooja is asking. So let's say, for example, events meaning whatever we do in AWS, every single click, an event will be generated in the backend. Yes. So where do you catch all those events? In event bridge. So based on the events, let's say someone has launched the EC2 instance, launch event is generated. Someone has rebooted the instance, someone has stopped the instance, terminate the instance. So for each and everything, event will be generated. So you catch that event and you can play on that accordingly, correct? So all those events will be stored in event bridge. That is in nutshell, Pooja. So don't worry, we have a separate class coming on that as well. Okay, let's jump on to today's topic. All right. So now, Chiti, let's go back in our olden days. In our, I don't know your olden days, but at least in my olden days, I'm not looking very much old, no. I'm like your age only. Don't think that, sir, your age meaning, I don't know. Okay, see, in our olden days, especially in my graduation, like, where do you store all your files? 15 years back, 10 years back. Huh? Oh, you are there from SD card. What is that? Floppies. Who are the people? Floppy Zamana. I know all older. So we're all the same batch. Huh? Okay, nice. So guys, in our olden days, like, we used to use floppies, right? In CPs, we'll put the floppies, correct? So I still remember I was doing my final year project. I used to carry multiple floppies because what is the size of the floppy? 2 MB. Don't show this much. Okay. The size of the floppy is 2 MB only. So initially we had a floppy, correct, Chiti? So which was 2 MB. Now if you take generally put nasty face and take the selfie, no? So that selfie itself will take 2 MB. One photo itself is 2 MB, right? So on olden days, it's like a floppy was only 2 MB. Just imagine how many floppies that you need. You need to have a 1 GB. Remember? So that floppies was sufficient for us on those days? No. And then later, after floppies, what did we got? CDs. Excellent. We know CDs. What is the size of CD? This much, like vada shape. What is size? You guys know, na? CD. 700 MB. How much is that? 700 MB. Nicely used, huh? So, okay. 700 MB. So after CDs, are we enough with CDs? No, the 700 MB was not enough. Then later we got what? DVDs. We got DVDs, correct? Remember DVDs? One DVD, 3 movies. What is size of it? 4.7 GB. Right? If you take one DVD, 3 movies will be there inside it. So we used to take VCD and put, nice. Okay. How much was the rent? 10 rupees. Remember? Okay. So this DVDs was also not sufficient. Later we moved to pen drives. From pen drives, you guys are here. Correct? Okay. So you have pen drives. What is the size of the pen drive? You have till 128 GB, you have it, right? So I put 128 GB. So this 128 GB was also sufficient. No, later you move to hard disk, external hard disk, correct? So we have hard disks. What is the size of the hard disk? Maximum 2 terabyte or 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte. So do you see this evolution, like from floppies, from DVDs, from CDs, DVDs, pen drives, hard disks? So the size is getting increased. So we need lots of storage. We need lots of storage. So now also, guys, hard disk 2 terabyte is not sufficient. Correct? If you go for one trip, 2 terabyte is full. Correct? Obviously, it will get full. Correct? So this hard disk was also not sufficient nowadays. Now tell me, this hard disk is secure? If that hard disk pusuk fell down, it's gone. Right? Or if you give this hard disk to some of your friends and they'll put it in some laptop which has virus, all your data is corrupted. Correct? Is it secure? Is it safe? No. As AWS was watching all these things, and later AWS saw all these problems and he came up with a storage. He came up with a storage service, and that name is S3. What is that? S3. S3. Simple storage service. Simple storage service. Simple storage service. And this AWS knows the problem with the size, with the storage, correct? So 128 GB, 2 terabyte, 3 terabyte, 5 terabyte is not sufficient for us nowadays. And that's why AWS is giving this S3 storage as unlimited. S3 storage is unlimited. S3 is unlimited. S3 is unlimited storage. Yes, it is public. You can make it private also, Vishal. We'll talk. But by default, it is private, and we can make it public. S3 is a unlimited storage. Guys, how we have Google Drive? You know Google Drive, right? So what do we do with the Google Drive? We put the files, we'll take out the files, we'll add the files, delete, modify, we'll do all those things. That is from Google. Same thing, you will get it from AWS, that is S3. And the name itself is Simple Storage Service. That is also a certification question. So in options, they will give as Storage Simple Service, Service Simple Storage, Storage Simple Service, Simple Storage Service. You will get confused, right? So I'll give you one hint here. Guys, till now, whatever we have learned, everything is simple? Simple or not? Simple. So remember, in AWS, all the services will start with simple and with the service. In AWS, all the services will start with simple and with the service. What service? Storage service. What database? Database service, right? And something, or everything will start with simple and end with service. I'll write this here. Like this, you remember, there is no option, there is no room to put the wrong answer in your certification, right? Everything will start with simple and with service. So in AWS, all services will start with simple and ends with service. And with service. I'll give an example. There is a service which is to send notifications. There is a service which is used to send notifications. I call it as SNS. Can we frame it now? What is the full form of SNS? Bas, khatam. Simple notification service. And I'll give one more example. There is a service which is used to send emails, which is called SES. What is the full form of SES? Simple email service. Got it? Like this, everything will start with simple and end with service. Okay, so can I say this S3 is used to just store the files? What do we do with the Google Drive? In Google Drive, we'll just store the files. Do we do anything else in Google Drive? No. Tell me, in Google Drive, can you execute any files? Can you run Python files? Can you run .NET files? Can you put some application and run it? No. Google Drive is just to store. It is just for the storage purpose. It is used to just for storing your files. What kind of files? Any files. What kind of files? Any files. Whatever, there is no restrictions there. .ppt, anything. You can just upload it. Right? So S3 is unlimited storage by AWS. So in S3 is used to just store the files. So in S3, you can store all kind of files or all type of files. Or any kind of files or all type of files, any type of, whichever is. Yes, you can do that. So in S3, what do? We can upload. In S3, we can upload, download, and access files. Not only image, anything you can do it. Can you execute any files in S3? No, you cannot execute any files in S3. So, okay, now tell me, is it possible for you to install operating system in S3? No. I'll write it here. Is it possible to install OS in S3? Answer is no. Chiti, is it possible to install database in S3? No. Is it possible to run any files in S3? Your .NET files, your .exe files, etc. in S3? No. So remember, it is just only used for storage purpose. And Google Drive, is it server based or serverless? Serverless only, no. Are you logging into any of the machine to access Google Drive? No, right? So, and this S3 is also serverless. S3 is serverless. As it is serverless, do we need to worry about the performance of S3? Do we need to worry about high availability of S3? Do we need to worry about scalability of S3? No, it is AWS service. It is a serverless. Everything is completely managed by AWS. So AWS handles high availability, performance, right? Scalability, etc. for S3. Everything is completely managed by AWS. Okay, Chitti? Getting it, everyone? Non-IT, okay, ma? NCC? Nice. Okay, now, let's take here, I have Manohar, for example. So, Manohar asked me, okay, so Manohar asked me, sir, do you have any movies with you? So Manohar asked me, sir, do you have any movies? I said, like, what kind of movies you need? Hollywood, Bollywood, or Malayalam movies, or what? Right? So I said, like, I have different type of movies. So Manohar asked these movies and I gave. So I gave few movies to Manohar. So what he did was, in his laptop, he went in his laptop. Guys, if I give him movies, what do he create? He'll create a nice folder, right? So in his Windows, what does he create? He'll create a nice folder he create. And inside the folders, he'll put the files, correct? Inside the folder, he'll put the files. And what is the name of the file? Movies, or any name of the movie, correct? So can you give me one movie name? Triple R dot MP4, MP4. Right? Do you see that? That is a folder. Inside the folder, what you have? File. And what is, and last one is the name of the file. Correct? You got this? Same Chitti, same thing in S3. Same thing in S3. What do we do is, we create a folder, but we don't call it as folder. We call it as bucket. What do we call? Bucket. We call it as bucket. Not that bucket. Bucket. Okay. And then the files inside it, we call it as object. What do we call? Object. The folder, you call it as bucket. Inside the bucket, what do we put? Objects. So is it good to call it as files or objects? Objects. Where are the objects stored? In bucket. Where are the objects stored? In bucket. What is a bucket? Bucket is a container of objects. Yes. Either way you can call. And last one, name of the object is called a key. Name of the object is called a key. You understanding? So I'll write it here. What is a bucket? Bucket is a container of objects. Okay. And what is an object, Chitti? Object is a file. Right? Object is a file. Name of the file? Yes, name of the file is key. Name of the file you can call, or name of the object you call it as key. Did you got it? right? So the main one, we call it as bucket. Inside the bucket, what do you have? Objects. What is the name of the object? Key. Super. And that is why here, what do we upload in S3? Objects. Learn the terminology. So what do we upload in the bucket? Objects we upload. So can I call as S3 is a object-based service? Certification question. So S3 is a object-based storage. S3 is a object-based storage. This is a certification question. S3 is a object-based storage. Okay. So apart from this, apart from giving the storage, apart from just giving as a storage, S3 is also giving one advanced feature. Let's say do you know what is static website? Static website. What is static website? Huh? No backend. What else? The content where it is static. The content which is not changed on the website, can we call it a static website? Right? What is static website? Static way, for example, Wikipedia. Wikipedia is static? Yes, it's static. The content is static. No, it is not changed. Right? Which doesn't have any database in the backend. So just only one article. Articles are all static only? Yes, static only. Correct? So, okay, now I'll give a requirement for you. I have a static website, Chitti. Generally tell me, in which service do you go and host this application? I have an application. I have a static website. Tell me, generally in AWS, where do you go and host this static website? EC2. You go in EC2. You launch a EC2 instance, you go inside it and deploy the machine. And if you need to have high availability, what do you need to have? You need to have a load balancer, correct? So you need to set up a load balancer. You need to set up multiple EC2 instances. You need to go and deploy it. You need to go and set it up, secure it, right? And you need to have auto scaling on top of it based on the demand or load. It has to go and increase it. Do you need to do all this kind of stuff, guys? No need. For static website hosting, this S3 provides as a static website hosting. So that meaning you just create a bucket and put all your static files, HTML files inside the bucket, boom. Enable static website hosting. Bus. It'll give the URL and that URL will be accessed by millions of people. Do we need to worry in S3? Do we need to worry about high availability of our application? No. Do we need to worry about the performance of our application? No. Do we need to worry about high availability, etc., scalability of our application? No. Everything S3 serverless. No. Everything is handled by AWS. So remember, in your real time or in your companies also, or interviews also, if someone asks, "Hey, I have a static website. Can you tell me in which service do you host this?" S3. Because S3 supports static website hosting. Excellent. So I'll write it here. S3 support static website hosting. What do we do for that? Simple. Create a bucket. Put all your HTML files. Don't worry, what is HTML? Okay. So all your HTML files in bucket and enable static website hosting. Plus, it will give the URL, access that URL. Do you need to worry about anything? No, no need to worry about high availability, performance, scalability, etc. Because who handles it? S3 handles it. Clear, Chitti? And by the way, S3 is global. S3 is global. Whereas buckets are regional. That meaning you can create the bucket in Mumbai region, you can create the bucket in Ireland region, you can create the buckets in any region, but S3 as a service is global. why it is global, why it is regional, all these things. When we go to S3 service deeper, we'll learn there much. For now, you have to remember S3 is global and buckets are regional. Is this clear till here, everyone? All clear? Non-IT? Okay, ma? NCC? Okay. In region, which location buckets will be stored? Sarita, we have so many regions. How many regions are there, Chiti? Approximately 24 or 25 regions are there. In any region, you can go and create the buckets and you can store it. It is our requirement. Okay. So now, Chiti, very, very, very important topic. Guys, those who are lying down on their stomach, sleeping on the bed, get up. Online. Okay, I understand how many positions that you are doing it. Lying on the bed, putting hands under your cheeks. So get up, close your door steadily. Listen this. Very, very, very important. How you know? I know everything. Okay. And if you are on laptop, lock your WhatsApp also. Don't chat with your girlfriends and all because it's very important, guys. Okay. See here. Next topic here is EBS. Elastic block storage. What is that? Elastic block storage. This is the reason why I said don't call Beanstalk as EBS, because EBS meant for elastic block storage. Write down, Chiti. Elastic block storage. Nice. See here. So I have an EC2 instance. Okay. Chiti, how many steps are there to launch an EC2 instance? 7 steps are there. 7 steps are there to launch an EC2 instance. Okay. You have your laptop. Will your laptop work without hard disk? No. So this EC2 instance also need to have a hard disk. Definitely, when you launch an EC2 instance, definitely needs to have a hard disk because that is a storage. So Chiti, now this hard disk, we should now call it as, we should not call it as hard disk. We should be calling it as volumes. What we need to call? Volumes. Volume. What volume is that? EBS volume. Write down, Chiti, what is that? EBS volume. What is that? EBS volume. Hard disk. So we should not call it as hard disk anymore. We should be calling it as EBS volumes. Speak out. EBS volumes. Okay. So now we call it as EBS volume. That is good. Okay. Now, when you launch an EC2 instance, when you're launching, Chiti, here, when you're launching the EC2 instance, definitely you need to have a volume. Yes, because that is a hard disk. While launching the EC2 instance, definitely need to have a volume. So here, when you're launching the EC2 instance, automatically one volume that is called default volume will come. When you're launching the EC2 instance, how many volumes will come? One volume. What is that volume? Default volume. When you're launching the EC2 instance, automatically one volume will come. What is that volume? Default volume. Okay, good. Can we go and create? So in your laptops, you have C drive, D drive, E drive, drive. So the default volume is nothing but C drive for us. Yes. The default volume is nothing but C drive for the EC2 instance, correct? Okay. So now, so this is the EC2 instance. This is the EC2 instance. So EC2 instance, there will be a default volume to this EC2 instance, correct, Chiti? is the default. What is that volume? Okay. So what is that drive called? Correct. This is a C drive. This is a C drive. What does, no, Nitin, don't jump. So what does this C drive contains all the time? Operating system. What does the C drive contains? OS. Who is that? Or OS. Remember OS? We have OS. So if I rephrase this question, what does your default volume contains? Operating system. The volume which has operating system is called default volume. What is that called? Default volume. Okay, now, Chiti, when you launch in Windows EC2 instance, AWS will give you some size, no? AWS will give you some volume. What is the size of the volume? 30 GB. By default for Windows, how many GB that AWS is providing by default? 30 GB. So we need to learn for Linux also, no? For Linux, it provides 8 or 10 GB. How much? 8 or 10 GB. So if I ask you a question, what is the default C drive for Windows EC2 instance? How much? 30 GB. What is the default size for Linux EC2 instance? 8 or 10 GB based on the operating system. Okay. So now I have only C drive. Can I have D drive also? Yes. But the D drive will be provided automatically by AWS for us to the EC2 instance? No. We need to go and create the volumes. So we need to go and create the volumes. Where are all the volumes are stored? Guys, this is something called EBS storage. EBS is a centralized storage. This is EBS. This is a centralized storage. What you need to do, you go and create the volume. How much ever size that you need, you go and create the volume and then attach to the EC2 instance. This is the EC2 instance. Okay. You create a volume and then attach to the EC2 instance. So you have the EC2 instance. You have already a default volume. You already have a default volume that will come at the time of launching your EC2 instance. But if you need any extra volumes, what you need to, you create it and then attach it. You create it and attach it. So now can I say that volumes can be attached and volumes can be detached? Yes. Volumes can be attached and volumes can be detached. So now I'll write here, volumes can be attached and volumes can be detached. Volumes can be attached and detached. Okay. There is a question. What is the difference between S3 and EBS? Okay, good question. Chiti, S3 is what based storage? What based storage? Object based storage. What based storage? Object based storage. In S3, is it possible to install operating system? Is it possible to run any files? Is it possible to do anything else apart from just storing it? No. But what do we do with the volumes? Do we have operating system on the volumes? Can you run files? Can you host applications? It is just like your laptop hard disk. You can do whatever you want to do. So S3 is a object-based storage and EBS is a block-based storage. EBS is a block-based storage. Certification question. EBS is a block-based storage. EBS is a block-based storage. Getting it? Slowly. We'll go slowly. Aram se. So, Chiti here. See here. Now, so we have a default volume. Guys, isn't it not nice now calling as default volume? We'll give the name. The default volume is called as root volume. What volume? Root volume. So I call it as the default volume here, we call it as root volume. Root volume. Chiti, what is the default volume called? Root volume. Now question for you. What does the root volume contain? OS. And another question. Whenever you see OS in the volume, that volume is called root volume. By any chance, root volume has operating system. Whenever see operating system any of the volume, you should say that is a root volume. Got it? Okay. If I want to have an D drive here, can I go and create a D drive here in centralized storage and I attach that D drive here? Yes, I can go and attach this D drive here. This is my D drive. What does the D drive contain? Everywhere OS only. Your C drive contain OS. What does the D drive contain? Your data, your files. So can I call it as data? Yes. Guys, this is called additional volume. What is it, Chitty? Additional volume. So the default volume is called root volume and the rest of the volumes are called additional volume. So additional volumes can be created and attached. So volumes can be attached and then detached. Whenever you want, fatak, attach it. Whenever you want, detach it. Sir, when do we detach? We'll go slow. We'll go slow. Aram se will. I understand you have those questions. We'll talk. Question for you. Certification question. Can you attach multiple volumes to a single EC2 instance? Very good. I'm writing it. You can attach multiple volumes to the EC2 instance. Good. So guys, see here, I have created a volume here, and can I go ahead and then attach this volume here? Yes, I can attach, or if I don't want, can I detach also? I can attach it. Preetham is asking, what is the mean by volume? What is the meaning of volume? A disk. So whenever you want, you attach it. Whenever you don't want, you detach it. So EC2 instance has default volume. What is that volume called? That volume is called root volume. Super. Very good, Chitti. It's called root volume. The root volumes always contain. The root volume always contains OS. Here OS meaning what kind of OS? Linux and then Windows. Chitti, here tell me, does this EC2 operating system meaning Windows, does it provide your Windows 10 operating system? Illa. No. So here you should understand, first of all, there are two types of operating systems. You know that? You don't know the two types of operating systems? Okay. So one is not Windows and Linux. We call it as client OS and server OS. Client based and server based. Client OS. And so in client OS, what do we have? We have Windows 10, 11, all these things. On server side OS, we have Windows Server 2021, 22, Red Hat, CentOS, and then Ubuntu, right? SUSE, etc. There are different types of operating systems in Linux. So this is server based. So it is not client based operating system it provides server based operating system. Yes, Gopinath, you will get it. There is Akash is asking which type of Windows OS or Kali Linux. As I said, in Windows you have different types of operating system, server side operating system. Windows Server 2020, 21, 22, 23 latest you have, and in Linux you have Red Hat, CentOS, Ubuntu, SUSE, Amazon Linux. There are so many flavors are available. So whichever the flavors that you have a requirement, you can use it. So so if someone asks, does the EC2 provides client-side operating system? Answer is no. So EC2 supports. There is question. So no, sir, which type of Windows OS in root volume? Akash is asking which type of Windows OS in root volume. Either it can be Windows, either it can be Linux. So EC2 supports only server OS, not client OS. Getting it? So guys, if we have OS on the volume, what is that called? Yes, if we have OS on the volume, that volume is called root volume. Volume is called root volume. Another certification question. How many root volumes EC2 instance can have? Obviously, no. How many operating systems you can have permission? Only one. So EC2 contains how many root volumes? Only one. So EC2 instance has only one root volume. Very good. EC2 instance can have multiple additional volumes. Very good. EC2 instance can have multiple additional volumes. There is a question. Is the root volumes comes by default with EC2? Answer is yes. Very good, guys. I'll come to that point, Vishal. I'll come to that point. Okay. Now, what is the default Windows size that you get? C drive? 30 GB. So you might have a question, sir, what is the maximum size that AWS will provide? Abba. Okay. So no, it's not unlimited. And S3 was unlimited. You will have a hard disk with unlimited, huh? No. So I'll tell you the answer. The maximum volume size, I'm saying per each volume, maximum is 16 terabyte. How much? 16 terabyte. Your C drive volume itself can be up to 16 terabyte. D drive, 16 terabyte. E drive, 16 terabyte. Each volume maximum, how much? 16 terabyte. So will you go and always choose 16 terabyte? No, how much ever you want, you create it. 16, like my age. Rotten joke. Sorry. So 16. So people confuse. It's not 60, it is 16. Okay. So maximum size of the EBS volume is 16 TB. I'll come to that point today. I'll come to. So guys, here maximum volume size is 16 terabyte. So if you want to go and create a D drive additional volume, will you mandatorily go for 16 terabyte? How much ever you want, you get it. That meaning we will call it as pre-provision. So volumes can be pre-provision. Pre-provision meaning how much ever you want. You want additional 30 GB, 50 GB, 500 GB, 1000 GB, 2000 GB, how much ever you want, you go and get it. So can I call it as volumes can be pre-provisioned? Yes. Volumes can be pre-provisioned. Like if you want like 50 GB, 100 GB, like this, maximum, how much you can get it? 16 terabyte you get. Chitty. Another certification question. Can you attach one volume to multiple EC2 instances at the same time? Answer is yes or no? No. I'll put this question. You have a laptop. Can you attach your hard disk to multiple laptops at the same time? Same thing, no, here also, right? So one volume cannot be attached to multiple EC2 instances at the same time. But latestly, AWS has launched some volumes which can be done. But by default, no, that is specialized volumes. I'll put a star mark, but but you can do it. Okay, by default, no, you cannot attach a single volume to multiple EC2 instances at the same time. What is that question, Shravani? Any limit meaning minimum? There is question, but in real-time prod database instances can hold more than 16 terabyte of data. Obviously, in my production also, I have more data in my company. But the thing is, I'm saying one volume can be up to 16 terabytes. Can I have D drive as 16 terabyte? Can I have E drive as 16 terabyte? Can I have F drive as 16 terabyte? Can I create multiple additional volumes like 16 terabyte? How much TBs you have? So many. So you can create it. So you can segregate. So who is that? I'll take an example. Krishna. So whenever creating a new database, in databases you have MDF, LDF files. If you know, right? So that you can change that path to next drive. So you no need to be all your database cannot be in only D drive. You can spread that database into multiple files. So those who don't know, excuse me, it's not our related topic. Okay, that is Krishna's question. Is this clear? Getting it, everyone? Okay. Now, yes. Thank you. So another question, guys. Now default size, volume size is 30 GB. This 30 GB is sufficient for you? In your real time, 30 GB sufficient? No. So there will be a requirement that this 30 GB has to be extended, increased from 30 GB to how much maximum you can increase? 16 terabytes. So you can increase it, right? So here, yes, volume size can be increased. Volume size can be increased on fly. On fly meaning no downtime required. So generally, if you want to increase the volume size, you need to stop the EC2 instance. But here, do you need to stop the EC2 instance? No. If you want to increase the size of the volume, you can increase on fly. Volume size can be increased on fly. So volume size can be increased on fly. On fly meaning no need to stop the. Guys, all these things we'll do the practicals. No need to stop the EC2 instance. Krishna, we are just in the basics. We have not talked about instance types and all. But for your answer, yes, you need to take the downtime for it. Okay. So we are not jumping the topics. We'll go slowly there because we have so many other people, non-IT freshers, right? So let's go. Fly meaning on runtime. Correct, Pooja. How much time within minutes you can do? From 30 GB to 3000 GB, I can do it in 1 minute. I can do it. Okay. Okay. So now we have volume size can be increased on fly. That is good. But remember, let's say you want to create an additional volume as you want to create an additional volume as 30 GB. Pusuk, if you're creating a volume, you have entered one more zero. That meaning 300. So 300 volume got created. But how much you need? 30 only. But one more zero got, you mistakenly put it, 300 got created. So can you decrease that volume size? Answer is no. volume size cannot be decreased. These are all certification questions. Volume size cannot be decreased. What do you have to do? Delete that volume and recreate how much ever you want. Volume size cannot be decreased. Okay, you have the EC2 instance which is running and D drive is 500 GB. And then all of a sudden your manager said that, hey, you have D drive 500 GB, but your data is only, let's say 50 GB inside it. Your data is only 50 GB. And your manager saw, Are Babu, you have 500 GB, but your data is only 50 GB. Decrease it to 100, no? Is that possible? Not possible. Volume size cannot be decreased. But alternately, what you can do? Create a new volume with 50 GB, migrate this your 50 GB data to there, and then delete this 500 GB. Getting it? How to, everything is manipulating, correct? Data you need to take care of it. Does AWS will take care of your data inside your EC2 instance? Does the AWS has access inside your EC2 instance? No, we have to take care of it. Good. Volume size cannot be decreased. Yes, I wrote this. Guys, volume size can be increased on fly. I said that, meaning is it root volume or additional volume or both? Both. I said volumes. It is not only root volume. It is not only additional volume. Both. So volume size cannot be decreased. Volume size cannot be decreased. What you need to do? Delete the volume and recreate it based on your requirement. Do you see all these questions? Okay. Is it clear till here, everyone? Chete? All good, CC? Slowly, smooth as butter? Ma. Got it? Okay. So, we have root volume and additional volume. Root volume and additional volume. So, we have a concept here called device name. What is that, Chete? Device names. So, for root volume, there should be a device name. For additional volume, there should be device name. Guys, here volumes is all about attach, detach, attach, detach. Instead of attach, can I also call it as mount? Mounting is nothing but attach. Unmount meaning is nothing but detach. So volumes can be mount. So when you're attaching the volume, to the EC2 instance, you need to give the name, no? That is nothing but device name. Now you have EC2 instance. And EC2 instance should be booted from which drive, which volume? Root volume only. EC2 instance should be booted from the root volume. How does EC2 instance know that it has to boot from the root volume? Based on the device name. So root volume always has a device name called /dev/sda1 for root /dev/sda1. Everyone write down, very important. So for root, for Windows or Linux, for root, it is /dev/sda1. Very important certification question, /dev/sda1. Chitty, for additional volumes, apart from /dev/sd, apart from A1, you can put any name like B, SDB, SD, E, SD, E ke baad kya hai? F, SDF, etc. like this. Got it? So for additional volume, you can give like this. But root volume, it should be mandatorily /dev/sda1. This is mostly for Windows and Linux machines, but for some Ubuntu machines, for Ubuntu machines, the device name sometimes will be changed. It will be like /dev/xvda. It will be like this. Additional volume will be xvd. Apart from A, you put f xvdg, xvdh, etc. Like this you can put. This is for additional. Okay, so I'm repeating again. Chiti. So your root volume should be always mounted with the what device name? /dev/sda1. So because whenever your EC2 instance want to boot from the hard disk, from the volume, it has to choose the root volume, no? So EC2 instance has information that, hey, whichever the device name it is mounted as /dev/sda1, that is you consider as a root volume, go and boot it from there. And when you give for additional volume, can you give /dev/sda1? Can you give that? No. But if you give like this, will it be able to boot it? No. Your instance will start? No. Fail. Getting it? So remember, root volume is always mounted as /dev/sda1. Okay. Chiti, question for you. Question for you. Correct, Vishal. Question for you, Chiti. Is it possible to detach the root volume while EC2 is running? What you need to do? What you need to do? You need to stop the EC2 instance and then detach it. Can you do the live operation, heart operation? No. What you need to do? You need to put some anesthesia and then you operate it. Right? So same thing, you cannot detach the root volume while EC2 is running. What you need to do? You need to stop it and then detach it. But Chiti, another question. Is it possible to detach the additional volume while EC2 is running? Additional volume? Answer is yes. Additional volume? Yes. But is it recommended, Chiti? Let's say here we have Aman. Aman is a developer. So I said that, hey, exactly tomorrow at 11 a.m., Aman, I'm going and detaching the additional volume. I said this. And what Aman did at 11 a.m. also, he went into that EC2 instance in D drive. He is doing some coding. He is writing some files. And backend, can I go and detach it? I can do that. But is it recommended? Because he is working, no? All his data will be gone. So, but if you inform well in advance to all your team, you can go and detach it. If until you have informed 10 times again, still they are doing it, go and you can go and detach it. So additional well can be detached? Yes. Yes or no? So I'm writing it here. Is it possible to detach the root volume while EC2 is running? Answer is no. What you need to do, Chiti? Stop the EC2 instance and stop the EC2 instance first and then detach it and detach the root volume. Super. Okay, same question. Is it possible to detach? Is it possible to detach the additional volume? Additional volume while EC2 is running? Answer is yes. Is it recommended? It is not recommended. What you need to do? It's not recommended to detach What do you need to do? Yes. Running. Stop first. But if they are not listening, go and fuck it. Guys, can you delete the volume directly without detaching it? Huh? Can you delete the volume without detaching it? No. No. Because it is attached, no? It is attached. Can you delete it? The volume without detaching it? No, it is running. No, you cannot do it. So you cannot, these are all certification questions. So you cannot delete the volume. You cannot delete the volume while it is attached. What do you need to do? Detach first and then delete. There's a question, is it below create new second one, copy the old new and detach? Yes, possible, Shravani, possible. Possible. Chitty. EC2 instance has availability zone. EC2 instance has availability zone. Yes. If EC2 instance has availability zone, volumes also has availability zone. Yes. Tell me, I have my EC2 instance in 1A. My volumes should be in 1A or 1B. Is it, I have one EC2 instance in 1A. I have another EC2 instance in 1B. Can I attach 1A volume to 1B EC2 instance? No, there are put indirectly, technically, there are two in different data centers. So recommendation is your EC2 instance and volume should be in the same availability zone or different availability zone. Certification question. Why, yeah? You're answering all your questions. So EC2 instance has availability zone. Volumes also has availability zone. And your EC2 instance and volume should be in the same availability zone. Excellent. Correct. I'll put one diagram. Tell me, is that possible or not? Huh? I have one EC2 instance here, another EC2 instance here. This EC2, this is EC2. This is EC2. Today. And this is in 1A and this is in 1B. And does it has a default volumes? Yes, it has a default volumes. What is the default volume called? Root volume. Tell me, if the EC2 instance is 1A, your root volume should also be in 1A. This, if EC2 is in 1B, this EC2, this volume should be in 1B. Now tell me, question here for you. Can I detach this and attach it here? And can I detach this and attach it here? Huh? Yes or no? No. Why? Because they both are in different availability zone. 1A volume can be attached to 1B EC2 instance. 1B volume can be attached to 1A EC2 instance. 1A volume can be attached to 1C EC2 instance. No. 1A volume can be attached to 1A EC2 instances. 1A volume can be attached to 1A EC2 instances. Simple. Got it? Here, 1A volume can be attached to 1B EC2 instance. Answer is no, because they are in different availability zone. They're in different availability. Yes, there is a good question. Gopinath asking, but data can be transferred to other availability zone? Because what is the reason? What is the logic? Yes, availability zones are interconnected with each other. Remember the basic that we have learned? Yes, very good. Excellent. Okay. Guys, I'm talking about volumes. That can be additional volume. That can be root volume also, right? So here there is a question. Additional volumes can be in different availability zone. I have EC2 instance, which is in 1A. My additional volume can be in 1B? No. The additional volume should also be in 1A. So here we cannot attach 1A volume to 1B EC2 instance. What is the reason? It is different availability zone. And ulta, we can attach, guys, 1A volume to 1A EC2 instance. Huh? Yes, because it is in the same availability zone. Got it? See here. I have 1, 2, 3. I have 4 EC2 instances. I don't have much space. That's why I put 4 only. See here. EC2, 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 EC2. Now tell me, see here, guys. Question for you. I have a volume here. One volume can be attached to all these EC2 instances at the same time. What is your answer? No. But the question here, my requirement here is, guys, what if I need to share my data? What I need to have a shared volume? How do I have a shared volume? What if I need to have a, what if I need to have a shared storage? So if I need to have a shared storage, what I need to do? For this, there is another service that we'll talk tomorrow. Okay. So here, this 1A, 1B, 1C, or 1A. If you have like this, if you have additional also can you share it? No, you cannot do it because it is in different availability zone. Any questions, Chitty? Okay, quick one. Guys, can I take 3-4 minutes extra? Okay, so let's have a quick round. See here. Don't leave the class until I say, please. So if you want, guys, this is a certification question. See here. I have so many photos. Can you tell me which service do you recommend to store all my photos? S3. Fantastic. Right answer. S3 is server based or serverless? What is the full form of S3? Simple storage service. What is the full form of SNS? What is the full form of SES? In S3, what do we create? Buckets. What does the bucket? Sure, Manoj. What does the bucket contain? Object. What is the name of the object? Key. Excellent. S3 is global or regional? Buckets are? What are hard disk called in AWS? Is it volumes? What volumes? EBS volumes. What is the default volume called? Root volume. What are the rest of the volumes called? What is the device name of root volume? /dev/sda1. Volumes can be attached and detached. Yes. Can you have multiple additional volumes? Yes. And also, how many root volumes you can have per machine? 1. Can you have multiple additional volumes? Yes. And if I see operating system of in any volume, what is that volume called? Root volume. What is the maximum size of the volume? 16 terabyte. Volume size can be increased on fly. Do we need to stop that? No. Can you increase the additional volume also? Yes. Do you need to stop? No. Can you decrease the volume? No. So if you want to decrease, what you need to do? Yes. So you need to detach it, delete the volume and recreate how much ever you want. Volumes can be pre-provisioned. Yes. Volumes and available EC2 instance and the volume should be in the same availability zone. 1A volume can be attached to 1B EC2 instance. 1B volume can be attached to 1A EC2 instance. No. So is it possible to detach the root volume while EC2 is running? What do you have to do? Is it possible to detach the additional volume? Is it recommended? Not recommended. One volume can be attached to multiple EC2 instances? No. So I need a storage where I can be attached to multiple EC2 instances across availability zones. That is not possible with EC2. Which service is that? And what are the next coming services? We'll talk on that tomorrow. Any questions? And guys, and Manoj, he's the admin. So this is his number. Please save it. Manoj. So Manoj, is the right number? Okay. So guys, WhatsApp him. I know that most of the people have done all their formalities. Those who have not done yet, please contact Manoj admin. This is his number. Take the screenshot or take the photo if you need. First slide. Huh? Message him, Gopi Naidu. Message Manoj. He will provide you the demo videos, previous videos. Those who are new today, please message him. He will send you the recorded videos. And this is his number. Don't worry. Guys, many people are asking notes and all. Do not worry. Leave it on me. No. Do you know one more thing? My pain speaks more than my PPTs. If you follow my pains, that is more than sufficient. I'll send material also, don't worry. But once I start sharing, you don't even feel to go to the materials. If you just see my PPTs, that is more than sufficient. You will get more information here. But I'll share. Once the batch is fixed, I'll start sharing the notes. We'll create the group and all. Can I give the final CC for today? Thank you, Vishal. CC with smile. Excellent. Great. That is all, guys, for today. And I'll see you tomorrow with the next important topic. Until then, take care. Bye-bye. Have a nice day and see you tomorrow. Don't miss the class. Good night.